My wife, 41, and I, 43 male, have been married for 5 years, and we both have kids from previous relationships. I have 2 sons, 20 and 18. The oldest is in college, and my youngest will start college this coming fall. My wife has 3 kids, 21, 19, and a teen. Her 2 oldest are also in college, and I'm sure her youngest will attend college as well. My wife and I mostly share our finances regarding shared expenses, but college expenses have always been kept separate. My ex-wife and I studied 529 college plans for our kids when they were younger, so they both have a fair amount available to them. My stepkids have had to take out loans to pay for their college because my current wife and her ex couldn't save that much to help them. This has caused some animosity between my wife and me because she sees this as me not treating my stepkids the same as my bio kids. We've always tried to treat all the kids the same, but obviously this sets them on uneven grounds regarding student debt, and by a large margin. This issue has been compounded recently after I got a large chunk of money via inheritance. This money was willed only to me. I used quite a bit of it to pay off a car loan and credit card debt. I also invested some of it. I planned on giving the remaining to my sons after they graduate college as a kind of starter fund to do whatever they want. I figure they can use it to pay off any remaining debt, make a down payment for a house or car, travel, invest, or whatever they want. I haven't told my sons about this plan yet. My wife is upset with me for not giving any of this inherited money to my stepkids. She said that since my kids already have money saved for college, I should help my stepkids out so that it evens the playing field between them a bit. She thinks I'm playing favourites with my kids and setting them up for more success than her kids. She wants me to use all the money I'd planned to give my sons as a starter fund and distribute it equally among her 3 kids and not give my sons any. I shot down that idea immediately, and she countered by at least giving all 5 of the kids an equal amount so no one could claim favouritism. I shot that idea down as well because, well, it wasn't my stepkid's relative that died. This is money that I inherited, and I feel I get to decide what I want to do with it. I already used a substantial amount to help with debt that my wife and I share, and also invested in our future together. I understand my wife is upset that her kids are being saddled with thousands in student debt, but her inability to save before I even met her is not really my problem to solve. I can kind of understand her view that I'm playing favourites with my kids over hers, but I would never behave the way she is if our roles were reversed. She thinks I'm being an idiot about this and is threatening to tell her kids that I'm planning to give my sons thousands of dollars while they get nothing. Edit, when we got married, my wife was receiving child support from her ex while I was paying child support to my ex. She always ensured that the money she got from her ex was all spent on her kids, which it should have been. We kind of had an unspoken agreement that money for our kids was separate from other shared family expenses. Her ex is involved and he's a good guy. He never missed a single child support payment and he's a good, loving father. But he works a blue-collar job and it's not exactly enough to pay for college for 3 kids. You are the idiot. I'm planning to give my sons thousands of dollars while stepkids get nothing. That, my dude, is exactly what you're planning to do. You are settling yourself up for so much resentment and stress and arguments. The times are hard for young people. Between student loans, inflation and a housing crisis, I totally get why your wife wants you to help. Are you really unable to find some sort of middle ground on that? Think of his kids and how they might feel knowing that instead of being set up after college, Dad had to spend money on stepbrothers so stepmom wouldn't freak out. This is why I would never get remarried. Your remarriage has the potential to screw your kids financially, and that's really a shame. She should have saved for her kids. She made sure they were covered when she got child support and didn't worry about your kids then. She's just out to make sure her kids get the most they can, and if you fall for this, your kids get screwed. You are not the idiot. It was fine keeping money for kids separate when it benefits her kids. Now that keeping money for kids separate doesn't benefit her kids, she wants to change things up. Aha! Your wife sounds like your soon-to-be second ex-wife. Between her threatening to tell her kids, manipulation much, and the clear resentment and jealousy over money, I don't think that your relationship can survive it. To be fair, I thought it was an innocent question at the time, but now my fiancé is demanding an apology and I refuse. I, 28 male, have been working and trying to get things moving for my fiancé and the kids. I'm building our house. She's currently 26 weeks pregnant, cannot help with the build, and has been staying home with the kids. We're currently staying with my sister just until the build is complete because we didn't want to renew our lease. I prefer it this way too, but I'm getting a bit stressed myself handling everything alone. When I get home and ask her anything, she looks super angry that I'm even talking to her. Just super irritable and over the top constantly, it seems, and that puts even more on my plate. Well, yesterday I was fed up because she got angry over a seatbelt locking in place, and I said, "Are we just going to be angry every day?" I was laughing when I said it. She looked at me disgusted and looks away. I asked what was wrong and she said, "I'm just stressed out." So I said, "What do you have to be stressed out about?" She immediately lost it on me. She said something to the effect of, "I'm wrangling 3 damn kids while pregnant. I have severe pain constantly. I never get a break at all because when the kids aren't harassing me, your sister and her damn kid are. I can't even sleep because of the stupid dogs that run the house. I can hardly walk most days due to the pain, and I'm still expected to be the emotional barrier and answer your million questions 24/7, and I'm done. What do I have to be stressed about? You have one job, physical labor. Don't you dare ask me what I have to be stressed about." I just stayed quiet because she was obviously well past her breaking point. Later in the evening, after she went to the vehicle and checked out for an hour, not speaking to anyone, I approached it again and said she needed to discuss this stuff with me before blowing up, and she snapped again, stating that she has absolutely discussed this with me many times, but I'm so stuck in pity land that I dismiss her at every turn. I don't recall her ever mentioning anything to me. Regardless, she's saying she wants an apology and I won't give one. She's the one who blew up, not me. Am I the idiot? OP. What are you stressed about? Fiancé literally tells him. OP. She hasn't told me why she's stressed. Look, OP, I get you might have some stuff on your plate too, but instead, ask her, how can I help? She has 3 kids and 1 on the way, along with living with your sister's family and her home. It's not easy. While she shouldn't have yelled at you, she is telling you what's wrong. This is bad advice. If you have to ask how you can help, she's still carrying the mental load. He works set hours and she works all the time, which means he gets time off when he's home. So what he needs to do is get home, figure out what needs doing on his own, kids' bath, cleaning up, etc., and just do it. Build awareness and contribute. You are the idiot, dude. These are your kids too. I refuse to apologize. Oh, boo-hoo. Be compassionate. Get your pathetic pride outside your butt and apologize. I feel sorry for the poor woman who deserves better than what she's got. I'm impressed she's put up with you long enough to get knocked up a 4th time. And she's not even his wife. Dude has knocked her up 4 times now and still hasn't bothered to marry her. Why she's stuck around and kept getting pregnant by a guy who apparently has no idea that raising kids and making babies is actual work, I have no idea. He shouldn't push his luck. I, female 32, live with my partner and our 2 kids, ages toddler and pre-tween. My older sister Ava, also 35, and her husband recently purchased a house locally. It's a super nice place with a big yard and, as you can probably guess from the title, a swimming pool. Ava recently hosted a barbecue at her place. It wasn't a huge event. She invited me, our parents, and our other siblings. She mentioned letting the kids play in the pool, so I only assumed my kids would be included. We're potty training, although my youngest is currently in diapers. At the barbecue, I was getting my youngest ready for the pool by changing him into a swim diaper. Ava pulled me aside and told me she doesn't think it's hygienic for my youngest to play in the pool since swim diapers don't hold pee, and she asked that he doesn't swim in the pool with the other kids playing in it. I didn't think this was fair and told Ava that it would be no different at a public pool, so what's the problem? She was really condescending and wouldn't listen to me at all, and said that he can play in the pool when he's toilet trained, and said it's not fair on the other kids. At this point, my son was crying because he wanted to swim in the pool, and I told Ava she was being cold, but it's her house and her pool, so do what you want. Ava accused me of trying to guilt trip her and told me to just drop it. I was getting upset at this point, and I told our parents and other siblings about what Ava did. They told me it wasn't a big deal and said that it wasn't worth arguing with her over, and I should try not to let it bother me. I wasn't happy with this because this essentially meant they were siding with her and downplaying how she treated me and my son. I left the barbecue early with my family because we didn't feel welcome after that. The next day, Ava messaged me a whole paragraph and said that she was sorry that I was upset and that she wasn't trying to exclude my son for the sake of it. It was a super non-apology, and I told her I didn't want to hear it and that she's damaged her relationship with her nephew and she's not the one who had to deal with him being upset. Ava snapped at me out of nowhere and said I'm being dramatic. I told her to grow up and said that I had a very valid reason to be mad and that she needed to stop acting like a teenager. Ava showed these messages to everyone, and everything was just a bit up in the air. I feel like I'm right here, but the rest of my family doesn't seem to agree. You are the idiot. I told Ava it would be no different at a public pool, so what's the problem? But this isn't a public pool. It's her private pool at her house, and if she wants to set a rule, she should be able to make that call without being argued at. And she didn't damage any relationship with your kid. They're a toddler. They will forget and get over this. OP, ultimately you're continuing to escalate this situation. You can explain to your son that the pool is for potty-trained kids. You must accept that your sister doesn't want kids who aren't potty-trained in her pool, which is absolutely okay. And you need to get over it instead of holding on to it. I disagree. Everyone's the idiot here. She should have told you beforehand that only potty-trained kids were allowed in the pool. Of course, your kids would want to swim, and of course, you didn't think it would be an issue. She should have given you a heads up so you could have prepared. Sister was cruel to wait until the point that the poor child was already fitted out in his swim clothes to hear that he then wasn't allowed to swim. So I, 25 male, recently became official with the lady I've been dating for 6 months. We decided to have the first barbecue of the nice summer weather in our area at her place. We live separately currently. She decided to make steaks and baked potatoes, and I made some side salads, and I was also responsible for the drinks and chips. As my girlfriend got cooking, it just panned out that she ended up plating and serving to people as her steaks finished resting. When I went over to watch her plating, I noticed that she'd put butter and herbs and stuff all over the steaks. My family doesn't do this, and I've never seen it done this way, so I asked her politely if she would put mine aside and I would do my fixings. I just wanted my steak with ketchup. I'm pretty plain. Both she, her sister, and her dad gave me very pointed looks. Later that evening, she said she felt it was rude to the chef, her in this instance, to ask for my food separately, and that she wished I would have just trusted her to make a nice plate of food and that I shouldn't do that when I'm a guest anywhere. I frequently ask for my food to be made differently and more plain when I'm a guest somewhere or at a restaurant because I generally prefer plain food. I don't think this was rude. Am I the idiot for asking for my own food to be served differently outside my own home? You are the idiot for putting ketchup on steak and for calling it fixings. The proper thing to do was to accept it as offered. Eat some, and if you still want ketchup, then ask for it. You didn't even try it as offered. It may have been so fabulous that you didn't want ketchup. She was literally just flavouring the meat, and it wouldn't have hurt at all to try it. It could have been leaps and bounds better than putting ketchup on it. Please, as an adult 25-year-old man, expand your palate. I promise things to taste better with seasoning and not just ketchup. Please. I will just say this once, leave adults alone about their food preferences. I have 50 years of frustration at being looked down on for being a picky eater when the taste of certain foods is just downright unpleasant to me. And yes, I've tried it. I promise I've tried almost everything multiple times. It still tastes like crap. I cannot be more passionate about what I'm saying. People get to have their preferences, and as long as they don't expect others to go out of their way to accommodate them, they're fine. And no, asking his girlfriend to not put seasoning on it is not asking her to go out of her way. Not the idiot. That's a very odd reaction to a polite request. I, 19 female, have a friend, 20 female, that frequently brings up how she believes most women envy her looks and body, and she often goes on rants about it, talking about the hardships of other women being jealous of her for something out of her control and how unfair it is on her. When she talks about this issue to our friend group, we tend to stay very silent and just listen to her rants because we genuinely don't know what to say. I don't know if this is relevant, but she's pretty overweight. She's aware of it and started her weight loss journey recently. We're all very happy for her. Although her goal weight would put her at an underweight BMI, and she has quite unrealistic goals about wanting to lose nearly 100 pounds as quickly as possible to reach it. We're a pretty chill friend group and never really gossip, talk about each other behind their backs, or ever really engage in drama. But the constant rants this friend goes on about being an object of envy for other women have made things very, very awkward for us. Here's where I try to challenge our friend's thoughts and may have messed up. Yesterday, one of the other girls in our friend group was upset that her family frequently compares her to her older cousin. who she feels she can never live up to. She wanted genuine emotional support over something almost all of us in life go through, being compared to family members in a competitive way. Instead of offering emotional support, the friend that this story is about uses this as yet another opportunity to bring up how she feels other women are jealous of her, and even tries shifting the perspective that it may be hard on the cousin for being perceived as a role model and that it's not easy. At this point, I finally snapped and said that I find it hard to believe she's never related to feelings of jealousy for others before, that there's no way she's just constantly on the receiving end of obsession and jealousy, and that it's just not normal to constantly feel like every other woman is jealous of her body type. I was called cold for this response because I invalidated our friend's experiences. Am I the idiot? Oh my goodness, why are you still friends with this girl? Not the idiot, and your friend sounds like an insufferable narcissist. I worked with a woman like this once. She fretted and ranted about how she couldn't make friends because other women were so envious of her. Trust me, that isn't why no one wanted to be her friend. Your friend has low self-esteem and self-image, so she overcompensates by being narcissistic. How can she simultaneously believe that everyone wants to look like her and that she needs to lose 100 pounds? That's some serious mental gymnastics. If the facts are accurate, your friend needs therapy. That girl has serious problems.